Hi, my name is Emily Mixon, and I'm a senior environmental science and Plan 2 student here at UT Austin. Today I'll be talking about my senior research project, in which I use satellite imagery to learn more about fire dynamics in southern Africa. Here's a short roadmap of where we'll be going today. Vegetation is a key part of the carbon cycle. Trees and other plants absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis, and disturbance to the system, like fire, can turn these vegetative carbon sinks into sources, because carbon dioxide is released when vegetation burns. Okay, so vegetation in general is important. Why care about southern Africa in particular? The Miamba woodland is part of the rain-limited drylands of the African continent, a lot like the Texas Hill Country. This ecosystem serves as a current carbon sink. This ecosystem also supports over 100 million people, half of whom depend directly on the land. Changes to this system could endanger both the regional carbon sink and these people. Fire is already common in the Miamba. Areas of it burn every 1 to 4 years, and fire maintains a balance of trees and grasses. Understanding how the area grows back after a fire and what kinds of vegetation burn the most will help us monitor and mitigate any future changes. Since I couldn't go to Africa this year or travel back in time, I used remote sensing to conduct my study. Remote sensing depends on the fact that different objects on the Earth's surfaces reflect at different wavelengths, allowing satellites to take pictures that scientists can then use to perform analysis. My research questions are as follows. 1. How does photosynthetic robustness vary in burned versus unburned areas 1 year post-fire? 2. How does the photosynthetic robustness of burned and unburned pixels progress over 13 years? And 3. What are the implications of these patterns? I used two kinds of data for this project, data about fire and data about vegetation. I got monthly fire images from the University of Maryland. These pixels had the date on which the pixel had burned. I converted this data into simpler burned versus not burned data, which you can see here on this map, and changed it into annual instead of monthly images so that I could analyze the years between 2001 and 2013. Similarly, I converted monthly data from NASA on vegetation indices into annual data, and calculated the maximum photosynthetic health using two vegetation indices, EVI and NDVI. For my statistical analysis, I used Welch's t-test. T-tests compare the means of two sets to see if they are significantly different. In my case, the binary condition was whether or not a pixel had burned, and the continuous data set was the vegetation indices. I compared the vegetation indice values for burned and unburned pixels, both 1 year pre-fire and 1 year post-fire. As you can see here, both peak EVI and peak NDVI were on average 2 to 4% higher, both the year before a fire and the year after a fire. The statistical significance of my results indicates that there is a positive relationship between fire and vegetation health in this region. The higher values post-burn could indicate that many of the fires here are low intensity but frequent. Future steps include seeing if this pattern holds or is better explained by precipitation, land use, and vegetation class data. Special thanks to my advisors, Doraf Meyer and Kelly Kruzmeyer, and a few other people on their team for all their help with data, and the lab group in general for all of their support. Here are a few references.